Really, this lesson's not going to have anything new. It's just talking about linear equations, which you know already, and taking a look at real-world data. For example, if we looked at Don's coffee shop here, suddenly we see that we have two columns of data. Years in business is the first one, and total sales, how much money this coffee shop is making. And here the direction is just says, write an equation for the following set of data. Assume the relationship is linear. This part's really important to assume that it is linear data, because sometimes stuff's not always linear. We learned about nonlinear information, but in 8th grade, we're just going to assume that these problems are linear. Now, the first column, think of that as your x, and the second column, think of it as y. And now we can just do the exact same thing we've always done. Go find m, go find your slope. Same equation. In this case, it'd be the 42,000 minus the 62,000. And then because we used 42,000 first for our first y, we're going to use 1 for the first x, and then 5 would be the second x. And your calculator would tell you that 5,000 is your slope. The second thing is, since we can't use the shortcut, we've got to use the point slope formula. So there we go. Plug in your values. So your y1, let's just use that 42,000. This is a y, so this y1 becomes 42,000. Your slope, yeah, here's your slope. It was 5,000, so this m right here became 5,000. And then the x1, well, since we use 42,000 for the y, we've got to use the 1 for its x. So this x1 becomes 1. The next thing that we do is we distribute 5,000. Well, actually pull down the y minus 42,000 because we're not ready for that yet. And then 5,000 times x is 5,000x, and 5,000 times negative 1 is negative 5,000. And now we can just simply add 42,000 to both sides, and you'd be left with the equation of y equals 5,000x plus 37,000. Okay? So as far as like what this question wanted us to do, we've done it. Y equals 5,000x equals 37,000. Let's take a look at this situation, though. You went through all of that work just like what you used to, as far as like taking table data and putting it into an equation. Let's take a look and see what it would look like graphing this equation. We know that the y-intercept is 37,000, and we can literally put 37,000 right here, and then take a look at your slope. It's 5,000, so make that into a fraction. We need to go up 5,000 and then over to the right 1. So if I literally said, let's go up 5,000, that would put us from $37,000 to 42,000. And if it said right to the, once to the right, then we could just literally go once to the right and put a dot right there. So here's 1 year. We've gone up 5,000 and 1 to the right. And now we can just draw the line and continue that pattern. Up 5,000, 1 to the right. Up 5,000, 1 to the right. And it just continues along. So we've graphed the equation from this table data of Don's Coffee Shop. And I want you to take a look at a couple of things here. You can see that these dots are lined right up over the years. Okay? And so the graph matches the table data here. Here's 1 year in the table, and here's 1 year on the graph. And if we ran that 1 year up on the graph, it hits this dot, and then we could go out to the left to see where it hits on the y-axis, and it's at 42,000, which is right here on the table. Same thing's happening here with the 5-year mark on the graph and the table here. Okay, so the graph matches the table. We understand that. A couple of things I want you to remember is we can actually add into this table now. And we've got a couple of different ways. We can use the graph itself to add in more data to the table, or you can take this equation that we've fought for, that we've earned, put that into your graphing calculator, and use that to create more of your XYs. So if we looked at 2 years and added that to the table here, then we could see at 2 years you should be making about 47 grand. And same thing with 3 years, making 52,000, 4 years at 57,000. We could go through there and find all that information, or we can use our XY tables. But the main thing is, don't get stuck in a rut where you're like, problem, please tell me what to do. That's not how these problems are going to work. You know so much about this linear equation business that now you have options, and you just need to look at what the question is asking and then go get the question and its answer. So we don't really care how you do it. as long as you've got a way that works to get the answer. So just stay flexible and don't forget what you know.